Hello, welcome back to the Jet Press Podcast. My name is Justin Fried, and I'm joined as always by my good friend Mike Luciano. Mike, we got to start this show we'll talk about the Jets in a moment. We'll talk about the Jets in a second, Mike. But I have to.
I guess we have to,
I have to. Let's go Knicks, baby. The Knicks have won the NBA championship. I had the honor of going to the city yesterday and talking to Karl-Anthony Towns, and it was an amazing time just to be a New Yorker right now. An amazing time to be a New York Knicks fan. And one day, Mike, maybe this will be the Jets. One day, maybe the Jets can follow in the footsteps and follow in the path of the Knicks and overcome a 50-plus year championship drought and overcome an overbearing, universally disliked owner. And, maybe they could find their own Jalen Brunson. We can only hope. But it's a good day. It's been a great few days for myself, for a lot of New Yorkers, for a lot of Knicks fans. And I'm feeling good. How are you feeling, buddy? What's going on?
Horrible.
Okay. What really? Are you bummed that everyone else is happy? Like what's the problem? Why?
Because if I can't be happy, no one can.
That's bullshit. Be happy for as I've been saying.
For a city I don't live in?
As I've been saying all along, I am even just outside of Knicks fans. I'm just so happy for the city of New York and for the people that live there because I
live in New York.
I know so many people. I'm a New Yorker. I'm from the state of New York, but I feel a kindred spirit to the city of New York in some ways. It's the closest major city that both of us live in, Mike. But I'm so happy because I know so many people who are not sports fans at all who have texted me during this run, who have
they're called phonies. That's what they are.
No, they're New Yorkers, Mike, is what they are. And the Knicks represent the city of New York just as much as they represent the fan base of the Knicks. And I'm just so happy for them. I have somebody, one of my best friends. She is as anti sports as possible, staunchly against the concept of sports.
It's weird to be against it. It's one thing to be neutral.
I agree.
Sports are bad. That's weird.
Maybe it's a bit at some points too.
Yeah, it's a bit.
She texted me and she was like, "Yeah, I'm getting into the Knicks for this run." And I'm like, this is the best thing ever.
Phony.
Look what the Knicks. No, you say phony. I say unification. Look what the Knicks doing to people.
I say phony even louder. Okay. There are 4 teams that I like and 3 teams I despise. Since 2004, which is I guess the beginning of when I could understand sports and a rooting thing, the teams I like have been to 3 championships and won 2.
Okay.
And the teams I despise have been to 14 and won 10.
Are the Knicks one of them? Because that's barely. The Knicks are they've been to 1 championship and won 1.
Yeah, I know, but that's counting because they were the one where I'm like, oh, at least there's that. Because then the Red Sox and the Patriots.
How do you despise this Knicks team specifically though? Jalen Brunson, because these are wonderful people.
It's because when the Jets lose to the Patriots, it's the Jets suck. And now with this, it's your team doesn't deserve to exist.
No, but the specific players, Mike. Ignore the fans. Whatever. I get.
Well, I can't separate it.
You can't
in a vacuum. I like Drake. In a vacuum, I like Drake May, but you can't separate that from the Patriots, can you?
I could separate them. I don't like the Indiana Pacers. Obviously, I have to sports hate them. Tyrese Halliburton's awesome. I love Tyrese Halliburton. He's great, and I could independently say I'm happy for him if he does well.
I'm happier for us because Austrian Jet fan with 20 more memberships. You know what I've got for Austrian Jet fan because I'm moving my apartment around because I'm moving soon.
Yeah,
I had to go and take some stuff off the walls. I had this. This is an authentic Stein that I got when I was in Austria.
Beautiful.
Even though it is made in Germany, it was made right on the border with because Salzburg's right on the border. And yeah, is this not impressive? German craftsmanship here, Austrian craftsmanship.
I definitely bought at least one of those when I lived in Germany. Maybe it's not an Austrian thing, I guess, but it's Steins are great, man. They look
awesome. At the detail, right here, they even put stuff on it. It's
hide the German flag. Nice. Hide the German flag since you're trying to make this an Austrian thing. The German flag is on it.
I know it was. It's literally made the next town over from Austria.
Close enough. That's
your Austrian. I count that as
your Austrian fun fact this week is Mike owns a Stein that he got somewhat near Austria.
I got
very close to it. Thank you so much, Austrian Jet fan. We say it every time, but thank you so much, buddy.
So let's go and get into.
Let's talk about the Jets.
Well, first let's Apple, Google, Spotify, Overcast, wherever you get your podcast, we are there, and on YouTube. So we're really close to 2,000 subscribers. So if you want to be part of that. If you want to be the lucky guy who turns it over from 1999 to 2000, maybe if you hit that subscribe button, it'll be you. And if you hit that like button, maybe it'll be you. So
we never
little contest.
we never do this, but I definitely want to hit 2,000 subs by the end of the month. If we can get it by next stream, that'd be awesome. But
that would be splendid. Almost as splendid as the latest Joe Tippmann news, because Joe Tippmann has been extended for 4 years up to 66 million, which I think may have been intentional because of the number.
Yeah, its base is like 62 million, I think.
I want to go and keep this in the realm of being realistic, because admittedly, when I saw the numbers, I'm like, my first thought was, really? Like, that's it?
Yeah.
And that's not to act like Joe Tippmann is, Randall McDaniel, this unbelievable guard who's going to be an all-pro for 15 years. And that's also not to act like signing Joe Tippmann, or extending Joe Tippmann, rather, is the hallmark of like, oh, the Jets are back and this is how we're doing business now. Like, I don't want to go make it that grandiose either. But getting him for the contract they got him at the time where they got him at, this is at least a sign of that this organization just knows how to handle business. Yep. Remember Joe Douglas contract negotiations, where he basically said, "Hey, this is my price. I'm not changing. This is it. If you don't want it, tough luck." That's okay in certain free agent negotiations. When you're dealing with guys that you expect to be core members of your team, it just sort of poisons the well. I think Aaron Glenn had a good quote about Tippmann where he said, we want to reward the guys who want to be Jets. And Tippmann has always said, I want to be a Jet for my entire career. And a lot of guys say that, but I believe Joe Tippmann here. And now with that, you get a guy who, not to act like he's the most underrated guy in the league, but I believe after the Denver game, from the Denver game on, he was PFF's highest graded pass blocking right guard. So there is something there. He offers center guard versatility. He's still getting better. He's only entering his 4th season. And we bemoan the state of the interior offensive line market for a lot of the offseason. That's why we're saying we're kind of happy they didn't really overpay for a guard. They got Parham on a fairly cheap deal. To get Dylan Parham on $8-9 million a year and Tippmann on basically $15 million a year, $16 million a year, and those are your two guards, I mean, that is A+ in terms of finding value from Darren Muji. And now with Tippmann signed, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right on this. Geno Smith is the only player in the Jets' projected starting offense who is not under contract in 2027. So theoretically, if this unit is good next year, and then you still get other guys that are growing, like Sadiq and Mason Taylor, who aren't, we don't know who's the starter, but they're still both growing together. If they add a new young quarterback and this offense is pretty good, they don't need to make any additions. They could just slide right in. They got everybody. Yeah. Especially on the offensive line, because their 3 best players are Membu, Fashanu, and Tippmann. 2 of them are extended past 2027. One of them is in 2027. Fashanu will come up. I think if he performs about as well as we think he will, he'll get extended too. It's a move that you literally cannot find fault with this. Even if you don't love Tippmann, this value is by no means too cumbersome for the books right here. This is amazing value.
Yeah, Dave and Chad said, nice to see our GM thinking ahead with these signings, getting ahead of the money and rewarding core players. Yeah, I think there's a micro and a macro way to look at this. On a micro level, this is fantastic value. Like, if you would ask me, and I think I forget if I had said this on stream, I feel like I'd said it somewhere, that I thought Tippmann's contract would come in anywhere between 3 or 4 years, and looking at, I was expecting like 17 million a year. Based on what the current guard market is for a guy who is 25, Joe Tippmann, entering his 4th NFL season, who has gotten better every year, who offers guard and center versatility, I didn't think there was any chance he'd go for less than 17 million a year, pretty much. Like that was kind of the starting point, what I imagined he would get, just given what the current guard market is. I mean, Robert Hunt went for 20 million. John Simpson is, I believe, what is he, 3 years, 30-something million with Baltimore. John Simpson, who was bad. He had like 11 penalties with the Jets last year. He was not good. So the fact that the Jets now have both of their starting guards on extremely reasonable contracts, given like the rest of the guard market kind of exploding, the Jets were able to get really good value deals for both of their guards. I think on a micro level, at least just looking at value of the contract.
The Panthers are paying for Robert Hunt almost what the Jets are paying for combined.
Yes.
Tippmann and Parham.
Crazy. That's wild. Like, is Robert Hunt that much better than Joe Tippmann? I don't know, man. I really don't. Like, Joe Tippmann, the arrow is pointing up. I think he's gotten better each year in the NFL. And, if you told me 2 years from now, like, he's going to be a borderline Pro Bowl player, I wouldn't be shocked. But even what he is right now, he's an above average starter. You have an above average starting.
Would it really be that shocking if he sneaks into a Pro Bowl this year?
No. If the offense is good, and especially the offensive line is the reason for it, you're to get like the praise for Tippmann, for Fashanu, for Membu that really wasn't there last year, even if they were good, especially if you're projecting that Dylan Parham is going to be an upgrade over John Simpson as well. But so on a micro level, love the value that they got on this. And as Dave said, didn't wait to the last minute like Dallas does and pay top dollar. Yeah. And then that kind of goes into the macro level where, you have avoided any possible outside distractions going into the summer. Like basically after the draft, we all said the two things that the Jets have to do is you got to extend Brees and you got to extend Joe Tippmann. And they've done both. They did both before minicamp. They got both of those done before minicamp, let alone training camp started. They did both before mandatory minicamp started this week. It's hard to be upset about that. And like you said,
those are really their only extension. The only other extension candidate right now is Will McDonald. And
they're not going to do that.
They very much are in a wait and see
Correct.
kind of place with him. Not that they're getting rid of him, but they're like, we don't know about a multi-year deal for Will McDonald yet.
Yep.
So really the only two practical ones were Brees and Tippmann.
And they were the obvious
I think the Brees deal, while obviously I think it pays him like a higher pay running back, I think Brees is a better running back right now than Tippmann is a right guard. The $15 million a year, I think is what Brees got roughly, or 16. Like for a team that's not paying anybody, I'm not too worried about that. Garrett Wilson's deal with how the wide receiver market is going is looking better by the day.
Christian Watson's making $27 million a year. What's Garrett making? 31 and a half, 32?
But like even the top end guys like are getting 37, 40 for some of them.
And I put this tweet on. I put this on Twitter. I said that the wide receiver and guard markets. You mentioned the guard market exploding. Those are the two markets that I think have gone completely off the rails and are probably going to need to be corrected at some point. Like top end guards are making
basically too for interior offensive line market too. That may just set a new pressure.
I'm pretty sure the highest paid tackle is Tristan Wirfs or at like $28 million a year. You would think
we'll just get a new deal, I think, too.
I think he's roughly $28 million as well. You would think those guys would be getting paid significantly more than top guards and tackles because it's just a more valuable position. They're not right now because the guard market has just completely exploded. The interior offensive line market has completely exploded, as has the wide receiver market. And we've talked about that on the show. The Jets got the deal done with Garrett Wilson. They got a deal done with two different guards all in the last year. And all three of those contracts look really good relative to those markets right now. So on a macro level, you're happy with the value. And you're also happy with the fact that, like you said, Mike, 10 of your 11 starters on offense, 11 of 12, actually, if you include both Mason Taylor and Kenyon Sadiq and, Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, Omar Cooper, and then Breece Hall, and then all 5 of your starting offensive linemen, all of those guys are under contract in 2027. Now, that doesn't mean you can't upgrade at certain positions. I'm pretty sure there's very little in guarantees on Josh Myers and even Dylan Parham's contract after the season, which, again, that's part of the value of that Parham contract. So they can certainly still look to upgrade at left guard or center if they want to, and I imagine at center they probably should. But they now have so much control and flexibility over their starting offense. And going into an offseason where they're likely going to be targeting quarterback, they have the infrastructure in place. They have the pieces here that they're like, if you drop the quarterback there right now, I'd feel pretty good about that development. The development.
We're feeling better about Geno than we did because of the infrastructure around him now.
And I think part of that is because ideally the Jets were kind of gearing up to draft one this year. Like I think the plan was
Dante Moore would have been the pick if he came.
Yeah, if Moore declared, he would have been the second overall pick. And I think the plan was to draft the guy. And then obviously they just didn't have an option to do so. So they pivoted and drafted David Bailey and went a different route. But now they've thought 2 years ahead. They have the infrastructure in place going into 2027. All of these guys are under contract. And really outside of Myers, I don't think there's a weakness. And a quarterback, obviously, but you're drafting one. I really don't think there's a weakness as long as guys like Sadiq and Cooper are actual NFL players and are starting caliber players, or, Mason Taylor takes a second-year leap. Like, I really don't think there's a significant weakness. The roster still needs to get better depth, and they still need to add high-end talents. Right now, I think they have a lot of good players. They don't have a lot of great players, but that's why the development matters. But as far as the macro level of look at the roster, they have the infrastructure in place. It's probably going to be the best situation for a young quarterback that the Jets have drafted since Mark Sanchez, whenever they do draft this quarterback.
Looking at the Jets right now, we've said this at various points over the offseason. They're good at a lot of places. Like they have Brees in the running back room, but beyond that, it's a little bit of an unknown because we're still hoping Braylon Allen breaks out and we're hoping Isaiah Davis breaks out.
Mm-hmm.
Even the additions that they made on defense, they didn't go hunting for like a guy with a $30 million a year pass rusher. It was a lot of Joseph Ossai and Enikbaris, get some depth in there, get your veteran into Mario Davis, get a ton of depth in the secondary. I don't think they have a number one corner, but they have like 3 number 2 corners right now. Most of their units are average to possibly going to slightly above average. The offensive line, it legitimately is good. It is legitimately a well above average unit. It's full of young guys. It's full of guys that can both play the run and play the pass very well. It's full of durable guys from last year and ascending guys too. I mean, Foshu and Memba, we haven't seen the best of yet. Tippmann, I don't think we've seen the best of. Even Parham, he just came off his rookie deal. He's not that old either. He may just say, I need to get away from Pete Carroll and Goofus Sons, and then maybe I can improve too.
I think the Dylan Parham the Jets get this year will be better than last year's Dylan Parham, who was still not bad.
As Levi Dombros said last year, on a horrible offensive line, he was okay.
And you go back to 2024, he was pretty good. Like, he was a very good player. I think Dylan Parham is another guy. Like, honestly, it reminds me a little bit of the Simpson signing, even more so. I think the ceiling with Parham's even higher, but where the Jets are getting a guy that they think can be an ascending player in their scheme and will be better than the contract that they signed him for. And I feel very confident given that contract and how, the small small price tag attached to it. I think Parham will outplay that contract.
Underrated part, because like the Jets and the Giants don't really compete as much as the other Yankees and Mets. It's a thing. I wish Knicks and Nets were a thing, but it's not anymore.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Unfortunately, it's not anymore. But they don't really get many, we got one over on the Giants moments right here. But they had the choice of Joe Tippmann or John Michael Schmitz.
Yeah.
Who were ranked similarly, both Big Ten guys. One went to Wisconsin, one went to Minnesota. And they took Tippmann. And I could be wrong. I need to go check my board. I think I had Schmitz ranked higher than Tippmann.
I think a lot of people did.
A lot of people did.
I know.
And Schmitz has been, I would say, well below average, and Tippmann has now earned a very well-deserved 4-year extension.
John Michael Schmitz is kind of like a Josh Myers type, maybe even worse. Like, he might be a little worse than Myers, which I don't even think. Myers is a high-end backup, not a guy you want starting. I'm not even sure John Michael Schmitz could be constituting as, a high-end backup at this stage. But I know Dane Brugler put out a tweet, said like Tippmann was the unanimous consensus best center in that class. I don't think that was the case at all. I remember the conversation.
Was he the first center off the board even that year?
Well, he was taken ahead of John Michael Schmitz, no? Or who was there drafted before? When did the Giants get John Michael Schmitz?
That was like the end, like in the late 50s or something.
Tippmann was what, 40?
Tippmann
was 43, right?
Yeah.
So when was JMS?
That was like 57 or something.
Yeah, so Tippmann was before. But I think most people, or at least a lot of people, had Schmitz ahead of Tippmann. And you want to talk about Jets-Giants comparisons too.
When we're Matthew Bergeron, I guess, was an interior lineman ahead of.
He wasn't a center though.
Yeah, not a center. But you know what? Tippmann showing the versatility, center to guard. Schmitz has not shown that versatility yet.
Speaking of versatility, Brian said, I would bet that in an emergency, Tip can play all 5 spots in the O-line. He's certainly tall enough to potentially hold up a tackle. The positional flexibility. I wouldn't want him to do it, but yeah, he's at the positional flexibility with him, gives the Jets a ton of freedom to add best player available in free agency and 2027 draft. Absolutely. And if you're talking about the Jets-Giants comparison as well, I can't think of two teams who have had more dissimilar off seasons than the Jets and Giants, right? For better or for worse, right? The Giants made the splashy moves and they've been in the headlines for good reasons and a lot of wrong reasons, a lot of bad reasons. And I feel like they've just been a very loud team this offseason, from the Harbaugh stuff to everything with, Dart and Abdul Carter. And now there's, Odell Beckham is coming back.
All these Juju and all these.
Juju, yeah. It feels like they've had a very loud offseason. And normally that isn't always a good thing. Like,
especially for a Harbaugh team. That's kind of, you don't really get a lot of those.
So I think it's fascinating to look at kind of the dichotomy between the Jets and the Giants and how they've handled these off seasons. And the Jets, I feel like, have sneakily
for a fact, if Jackson Dart, Abdul Carter happened with the Jets, it would still be a talking point.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, for a fact.
That's how it goes. I feel like the Jets have sneakily had a good off season, which is good because, we've seen in the past the Jets be the undefeated offseason champs, like 2023 when they go out and get Aaron Rodgers, and 2019 when they signed half the NFL. They signed Le'Veon Bell, they signed CJ Mosley. Like, those things haven't always worked out. And I think the way that the Jets have gone about business the last 2 off seasons has really been very under the radar, quiet. The Mooj is working in silence. And I think long-term roster building, that's probably the best way to do it. Obviously, they're still going to get a quarterback. Obviously, we still got to see if this coaching staff is the right staff to be, to lead this team to the next step. But it's hard to be upset with how they've handled these last 2 off seasons, especially this one.
As Lil Wayne famously said, real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Real Moojis move in silence like lasagna, Mike.
All right. So you said we need to get a quarterback. We're going to try to, hopefully this is the last time this name gets brought up, barring the Jets doing something with him. But we're going to talk about Brendan Sorsby again.
Yeah.
Because we thought it was done last week. We finally had our Brendan Sorsby is dead podcast. Not literally. Like,
take it easy.
The
Take it
Jets'
easy. Relax.
chances of landing Brendan Sorsby.
Relax. Jesus.
The plan was, sorry to know for
R.I.P. Oh my God.
Jeez. But the thought was that he was going to get suspended for 2 games against Little Sisters of the Poor and Utah State Tech, and then get back for the real games.
Respect Oregon State.
I mean, they fired an interim coach. Why?
I know.
So, but then
it's like you saw Tunisia fired their manager during the World Cup.
That's who Brendan Sorsby got suspended against. He was going to play the Tunisian soccer team week 1.
Like Tunisia and Curacao.
Yeah, and then Houston week 3. He's like, he's back for that. But that was because that was part of the ruling that the Lubbock County judge made with the NCAA. And then after a week of, I'm going to be honest, the worst PR campaign in sports I can remember from Texas Tech. Basically saying the guy puts out a statement, the AD, like, first off, that 15-minute video of like, you were trying to navigate the landscape, blah, blah, blah. And then the coach going, it's not like he murdered someone, which is how you know you have a really good argument. If you go, hey, at least I didn't kill anybody.
Did he really say that? He said,
yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
He's a young man learning from mistakes. It's not like he killed somebody.
Jesus.
He did say
what
that.
What a defense. Your Honor, he didn't murder anybody.
Okay. Then as long as you don't murder, you can do whatever you want. Don't listen to that, kids. But he and Texas Tech, because they were getting legal challenges from other schools, they're like, enough of this. Like, I don't want schools suing us. And they part ways, and Sorsby now is going to declare for the supplemental draft, which is what we thought he'd do all along. Now he's going there. He has a pro day, I think, at a local high school in early July, which good pre-draft process you got there, Brendan Sorsby.
July 10th is his pro day.
July 10th, which is my cousin's birthday and one of our coworkers' birthdays, Jerry Trotta. So,
happy birthday to Jerry!
And that's how I remember, because they're the same day. So now Sorsby, let's talk about him just as a prospect and what the Jets could get in him, because as Brian Sturbeck said, he's still committed several crimes based on available reporting. I mean,
yes, having
someone place bets for you is illegal. Betting on a state where it's not legal is illegal. Using a fake name that's illegal. So there's putting up 2 games.
But he didn't kill anyone.
He did, as Joey McGuire very helpfully pointed out to us. So I'm seeing a lot of first round, second round stuff. I'm not buying that right now. I think if he had basically, even if he replicated the production he had at Cincinnati with Texas Tech, then I think he might have gone there, even in this very crowded class. Right now, based on what Dane Brugler said too, the reason that he even went back was because Sorsby got feedback from the NFL that he was kind of used like a 3rd round pick. That's why he went to Texas Tech, was to become a 1st round pick. Mm-hmm. So if the league viewed him as a 3rd round pick before this, and then he does this, it seems very unlikely they're going to use a 1st or 2nd round pick on him. So let's just evaluate Sorsby, what he is.
I feel like there's differing stuff out there about that, though, because who knows?
I can't imagine his stock has gone up.
Who knows with this information? But Ian Rappaport did say today, and I know, honestly, a lot of the national insiders feel like they're just carrying water at this point for a lot of these guys. But he said today that he spoke to 7 different NFL GMs. All 7 of them said that Sorsby was a 1st-round prospect.
Not supplemental draft.
No. He didn't say that. They were like, we don't think, because he was talking to Mike Garafolo and I think Tom Bellicero as well. And he was like, we don't think, they came to the conclusion, like, we don't think it's going to be a 1st-round pick, but they do think some team bids a 2nd. That's what they were saying.
Pellicero said kind of 2nd, 3rd, but 1st is out of the question.
But I think their point was if he came out this year, he would have been a 1st-round pick, which you could argue if he should have been or not. Maybe he would have, just given the quarterback class. Like,
he just lost so much money.
Yeah. How does the contracts for supplemental picks work? I don't even know, actually.
I think it's the pick of, I can't remember, because it used to be you negotiated, because Brian Bosworth, I remember when he came out, he was a 1st-round pick and he became like the highest paid linebacker in the league as a rookie.
Right.
So it used to be you could just negotiate whatever. I'm not sure if they change it to like rookie scale stuff where you
probably
get
slotted
based on where you're slotted. I'm not sure.
My guess is they just have a round for like a slot for each round would be my guess.
It might be. I'm not 100% sure on that. So let's just talk about Sorsby right now. What the Jets would get if they got him. They're going to get a guy who the arm, nobody questions the arm. If I do give him a player comparison, it's, and this is not because he has kind of a brash persona about him, but I see a lot of Baker Mayfield. Big arm, can get kind of crazy, kind of volatile from game to game. He's a better runner than Baker, but like they both can run a little bit. I don't think Sorsby's going to be like a running quarterback at the next level, but he will be able to use his legs. He'll run for a couple 100 yards every year, kind of like what Geno does, like that sort of level of mobility here. Not like Justin Fields, where that's all he can do. That's kind of where he's at. His problems right now are he can be a little cavalier. The accuracy very much comes and goes. I know he didn't have a great offensive line, but a lot of times against premier competition, he just stunk. Like Nebraska, he was very bad. Utah, he was very bad. And that's with two receivers who are in the NFL now, and Cyrus Allen and Jeff Caldwell. So navigating pressure is still an area he's got to work on. All in all, if he came out last year, he would have been my QB3. He would have been behind Ty Simpson. I think Simpson's just a little more refined as a pocket passer, but Sorsby, I think, would have been above guys like Carson Beck and Drew Aller. If this didn't happen and he came out next year, he's not above guys like Dante Moore, who I think might be my one right now, or Arch, or even CJ Carr, Julian Sayin, Lenora Sellers. He's not above those guys yet. He's kind of in that second Drew Mestamaker, Jade Mayava tier right now. So it's a guy worth developing. But as we said on the last show, and we don't want to just repeat ourselves right here, like the whole Jets offseason has been about no nonsense, stable. Tippmann. We're not arguing with Tippmann for a month and a half and talking to each other through agents and contract offers get leaked. Like, you just get it done.
They just signed Daryl Jackson Jr.
That good teams do. Like, you look at the teams around the league, like the good AFC teams. Buffalo gets the Tippmann deal done, doesn't consider Sorsby. Baltimore, even New England now, Seattle, the Rams, like they would get the Tippmann deal done and not look at Brendan Sorsby, just from an organizational perspective. We be more like those teams. Let's not just take this calm offseason where everything's going well and then throw a Brendan Sorsby media firecracker in the middle of it all.
I was going to say, they also just signed Daryl Jackson Jr., so they got all their rookies under contract already. But again, before mandatory minicamp.
No haggling, no holdouts, none of that.
Every Jets rookie is signed now. I think it's going to be so fast. And again, I keep saying this, but it's going to be so fascinating to see how the NFL handles this and what sort of punishment, what sort of suspension, if there is one, is levied against Sorsby. And I think that is going to be the biggest determining factor as to where he gets drafted. Because if you're a team that's eyeing the 2027 quarterback class, say you're the Jets, say you're the Browns, the Cardinals, whoever, like teams that are right now already looking at 2027 and saying, we're probably going to draft the quarterback there. Well, if Sorsby's suspended half the 2026 season, how do you justify using any sort of significant draft capital in the supplemental draft to get him? Because he's not even be in your building. He's not going to be practicing with you. You're going to get half a year to look at him by the time he's
a guy who needs a lot of development.
Right. For a guy who needs a lot of development. And then you're going to probably still have imagining you're the Jets, Browns, or Cardinals, you're likely going to end up with a top pick. And then, that just muddies the waters. It complicates the situation even more.
So Klubnik pick is pretty much a waste, trading up all those picks for QB3 too.
It almost feels like a situation where unless he's not getting suspended or he's not getting suspended like very long, maybe if it's 2 games, right? Then maybe you could take that chance. And you're a team like the Jets, because then if you bring in Sorsby and say, you know what? Look, we have Geno Smith as our quarterback. We like Klubnik, but we don't really view him as a long-term starter. Let's get Sorsby in here. Let's use a 3rd round supplemental pick. Maybe we get him. And if we do, awesome. Let's try to develop him this year. And if we feel really good about him, hey man, 2027 is looking like a great draft class outside of the quarterbacks. Like there's maybe we get a Leonard Moore or a Jeremiah Smith or whoever else. We have 3 first-round picks.
Colin Simmons, all these guys.
Sure. Maybe we use them on non-quarterbacks. And I think if you have enough time to evaluate Sorsby, maybe it's worth that swing if you're a team like the Jets. If not, if he's suspended for a long period of time and you're not really going to have a long evaluation period, I don't know, man. Maybe a team like the Eagles. Maybe it seemed like the Eagles make sense.
I've identified 2 teams that would be perfect for him, and they're not.
I feel like the Cowboys are a weird landing spot.
They got Milton and Howell.
Yeah, but I don't know.
That would just be Jerry going. I like media noise.
Can't you see Jerry doing it though? He's also, not. Where's Sorsby actually from? I don't know where he's from.
He's from. I think he's from Texas.
He's from. There you go.
That's why I think I could be wrong.
Jerry Jones special.
Well, now I have to find it out.
Yeah, no, I'll look it up.
Nah, I'm already on it. He's
from Denton, Texas.
Yep, Denton. That's why I went to Tech back home.
And it's from the Dallas. That's a Dallas suburb. Like he's from the Dallas area. You telling me you can't see Jerry doing that?
The 2 teams that I think would make sense, and it's not the Jets because they're not in that, and it's not Cleveland, Arizona, we're obviously taking a quarterback next year. Because again, think of it logically. If you use a 3rd round pick, what, you use the 1st and a 3rd on the same draft on quarterbacks? That's essentially what you're doing. After Klubnik too. So
you're saying, who are you saying that for?
The Jets. Like if they got Sorsby for a 3rd, and then they took Archer Dante Moore, then you essentially use 2 top 75 picks or whatever.
I think you can you could also look at it this way. Maybe this is a sunk cost fallacy mindset, but who have the Jets' 3rd round picks been in the last like decade? If they've gotten anything, maybe AZ Thomas becomes something, but it's Jeremy Ruckert, it's Malachi Corley, it's whoever the hell else. It's nobody. Nathan Shepard
to be more, Justin.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, is it the worst?
Steve I don't want the head case gambling junkie. That's a harsh way to describe a person.
And there will be some fans that discuss it that way. Like
Brian Glick, not enough practice snaps to develop another quarterback this year. You don't want to Hackenberg him too, and then take him and then just sit him on the sideline. He never plays. That's
because you're then developing 2 quarterbacks. It depends. Again, it partially depends on what they view, like what they think of Klubnik as well. If they view Klubnik as somebody that like, hey, we want to give some starts down the line this year because we actually think there's a chance that he could be a starter at one point. Or if they're like, he's probably just a backup. We're comfortable with him as our QB2, but we don't really feel the need to develop him as like a guy that we think is a starter. It depends. But I think the suspension is going to be, or whatever, clarity from the NFL in that regard is going to be the biggest determining factor between him maybe being a 2nd round pick or like a 4th round pick. I think I honestly don't think he goes any lower than the 4th. I think some team is going to take a chance on him.
He will be picked. Some team will take him.
100%. By the way, Brian said, Justin, the Daily Shorts are awesome. Let's talk about it. Keep it up. Thank you so much, buddy. That does mean a lot. I very much appreciate that. We do Daily Shorts here on YouTube and on TikTok. Go check them out. Talking about, we're doing a little camp countdown series, which is fun. Kind of taking a look at a different Jets player every single day. And then we talk about stuff like this. I had a whole rant about Sorsby earlier today because I think the whole situation is just really stupid. And I think nobody actually wins here. Nobody got what they wanted.
So they did all that lawyers, all that paperwork for nothing.
Dude, the NCAA comes out of this looking worse because they got overruled by a judge and they look weaker than ever. Texas Tech loses because they don't get their quarterback.
They didn't even, as bad as their opinions were, they didn't even stick to their guns. They folded immediately.
And then Sorsby wanted to play at Tech this year. He's not doing that. Nobody got what they wanted. Literally everybody
loses.
Everybody loses. And all that my takeaway is from this is, God damn it, college sports is broken. Like, college sports are broken right now. This is crazy.
Can you imagine if anything happened like this in the NFL? Oh, wait, it did. Calvin Ridley, and then he got suspended immediately, and everybody knew what the rules were.
And there wasn't some independent arbiter that was like, yeah, actually, no, he's fine.
Yeah. I went to a Fulton County judge, and they said I'm fine. So
right. Oh, he went to the University of Georgia?
I went to Alabama. I was like, oh, yeah, this random Tuscaloosa judge overrules the NFL. A retired one, by the way. So now
and he's a Falcons fan.
Actively, practicing law. Adam Schefter, by the way, has just tweeted, Cincinnati head coach Scott Satterfield is expecting numerous calls from NFL teams inquiring about Brendan Sorsby.
I saw, by the way, did you see Sorsby's agent said something about, he was like, Cincinnati knew about his gambling addiction and didn't do anything. And they knew about all this. And they were like, and the agent was like, I'm surprised nothing has come of this for Cincinnati. So he kind of threw them under the bus.
Does that seem? I don't know if that makes me. That doesn't sell me on Sorsby.
I don't think that was the point. Well, I think his agent is also trying to play like victim card here. Like, it's going through an addiction.
Everybody sucks.
Yeah, I think he's kind of like, look, my client was dealing with like a serious addiction, and multiple universities not only didn't help him with it, but like actively probably helped cover it up and made it worse. That's probably
if you cover it up, that's different. But also as an agent, you can't just say that. If you know what I mean, like
that's probably the direction he's coming from. Brian said, is there even enough room in the 53-man roster to project another developmental quarterback? I mean, yeah, they could, in theory, they could carry Geno, Sorsby, and Klubnik. Like, they don't need Zappy. They don't need Cook. Zappy was a practice squatter all last year. They can keep on the practice squad. Now, is it wise to go into the year with 2 backup quarterbacks and they're both rookies? Probably not. But have we seen the Jets do it before?
If one of them has to play and then they struggle, it's we got to put the other one in, and then we get back and forth.
2021, the Jets went into the year with no quarter. They had every quarterback on the roster had never played an NFL game. That was Zach Wilson, James Morgan, and Mike White. They went into the summer with. That was their 3 quarterbacks.
That year was amazing.
Yes.
So the 2 teams that I think would make sense, though, one of them I've said before is Miami, because Malik Willis, they didn't pay him like they think he's a franchise guy. I don't know.
But they didn't pay him nothing. Was it
$20 million a year though?
They've been out it for 2 years, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
A 3-year deal out of 2. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I think if they pick high, they're going to be like a Jeremiah Smith BPA non-quarterback team. So this gives them kind of a higher upside backup plan. And I think I found the really good one, which is Carolina.
I think Carolina makes a lot of sense, Mike.
I don't know about Bryce Young. Even if they keep Bryce Young, I don't trust him to always stay healthy with how small he is. Their backup right now is Kenny Pickett.
Yep.
I think that makes a ton of sense for him. The Jets, I don't know. Like I get why the Jets would like him, but there's just so much. If the Jets, let's do a hypothetical. If the Jets were like the Steelers, where they're consistently in the playoff picture, but like they just can't get quarterback right, but they have enough where they keep grinding out wins.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe why not? Because maybe this could be the guy that changes everything, but they're not there right now. Then they don't have the ability. The Steelers, even with Aaron Rodgers, have generally been able to kind of withstand the noise because they're the Steelers and this like old school gold star franchise. Jets are not that.
No.
So let's go as Brian Sternbeck, Dylan Gabriel, and Shadur Sanders say hello. Exactly. You want to emulate the 2025 Browns?
Yeah, that's a good point. That worked out for them, right? That was they got a Pro Bowl.
Deshaun Watson's going to be the starter this year.
They got a Pro Bowl quarterback out of it, Mike. They got two that played for them last year. It definitely worked out.
In continuing with our running through of different positional rooms, let's get to the one I'm actually the most excited to talk about of them, which is the defensive line. Carl Dunbar's new toy that he gets to play with. This defensive line is very deep, and not like a Robert Saleh, I would say artificially deep sometimes, where he just had so many guys back there, which, by the way, Jalen Holmes signed with the Titans today too, so another former Robert Saleh Jet.
That's now 10 former Robert Saleh or former Jets that have signed with the Titans this offseason, 5 of which I believe have been defensive linemen, which is Jermaine Johnson, John Franklin Myers, Solomon Thomas, Jalen Holmes, and Jacob Barton.
And Tanzel Smart's the defensive line coach.
And Tanzel Smart, and no, he's the assistant defensive line coach because Aaron Whitecon's the defensive line coach.
And on offense, Brian Dable brought in Wan'Dale Robinson and Austin Schlottman and
Daniel Bellinger
and Cordell Flott on the other side. Yeah. We've said before, this is the ultimate test of like, is this guy can't play in New York a thing? Because if the Titans are good, it's a thing.
Saleh hired his cousin. Players. He hired his cousin as a defensive assistant, and their linebackers coach is the GM's brother.
This defensive line room, though, it lacks star power. Like David Bailey could be the star. We're hoping he's the star. He better be because they picked him number 2 overall. And he's the highest drafted defensive player in Jets history. But he's not going to be that year one. Like unless you're just like a Myles Garrett who you can see from space is going to be this amazing player. Like pass rushers typically aren't like that. Mm-hmm. And look at Abdul Carter, same sort of thing last year. Good player, but not like game-changing superstar. But this defensive line is just so deep. Typically, defensive line is a position where you're like, oh, that could be a good 53-man roster watch spot because one undrafted guy could kind of make some noise. Or right before the year, maybe they need another veteran. Let's go and get a defensive lineman. They're not in that position. They have almost too many run-stuffing defensive linemen on the interior now. They have like 5 guys. They got Onyemata. They got Sweat, who was compared to Chris Jenkins and Jason Ferguson by Aaron.
Yeah, I saw that.
So he ends up being like those players were pretty good. Onyemata, Harrison Phillips, Jawan Briggs, who was dominant last year, Darrell Jackson they just signed. That's a 5-deep defensive tackle rotation. And remember how this team used to be all Lecky Fodu and Jay Tufele and Peyton Page? Those were the guys that they were running out.
Hey, Peyton Page still there?
Well, not for long.
Yeah.
And then those guys were coming in now. And then on the edge, Braden McGregor, Eric Watts, Michael Clemens. Well, now, on top of a number 2 pick, you have a guy in Joseph Osai who's been a productive player, not a star, but a productive player. A guy in Will McDonald who can rush the passer for all of his many faults, can rush the passer, and is going to be in situations now where it's more advantageous, hopefully. Maybe he won't be down 21-3 and has to play the run all the time, which will be good for Will McDonald. And then Kingsley Enagbare, who Packers fans were sad to see go, very good contributor on that defensive line over the last couple of years. The Jets have done 2 things. On top of the number 1 thing, just baseline improving the talent. And they have a potential star in the making in Bailey. Mm-hmm. Number 2, taking the depth guys from Braden McGregor and Eric Watts to Joseph Osai and Kingsley Enagbare. neither Osai or Enagbare are stars, but as rotational defensive ends, third pass rushers, those are amazing guys compared to those other two.
Yeah.
So just through subtraction, the Jets are going to have a much better defensive line, which, in my opinion, was the reason that the defense was what it was last year. I know there's no interceptions and Steve Wilkes and all that. They just couldn't get home. They couldn't get home. Jermaine Johnson, I hope he's better in Tennessee. He just looked kind of out of it. Will McDonald had like 2 good games, and that was it. Defensive tackle rotation was a mess. Improving this defensive line, I think, is the quickest way to improving this defense.
100%. Brian said the Briggs interview on the Jets channel made me like him even more. Sounds like a quality human. I didn't see that interview, but my favorite, they might have talked about this in the interview. My favorite fact about Joan Briggs. Mike, did you know that Briggs plays 12 different instruments?
And 12?
12 different musical instruments. And he was also in an a cappella group, I think when he was in college. And
wow.
If I remember, I put this in the short that I made about him. I believe it was called the Hullabahoos.
Hullabaloos?
Hullabahoos.
Hullabahoos.
And according
Why
to Wikipedia,
do they always have names like that? Like,
I don't know, man. And according to Wikipedia, he also performed the Star Spangled Banner before a few basketball games at both Virginia and Cincinnati. And he's a tenor. His singing voice is a tenor. But he plays
I thought he'd be a bass. I don't know.
Honestly, you would think so, right? But
no, alto's the really high one. Never mind.
Yeah, but whatever. He plays the 12 instruments that he plays are the recorder, piano, violin, viola, cello, double bass guitar, acoustic guitar, electric guitar.
Bass guitar. Okay, I was about to say, you can't count guitar twice.
Saxophone, flute, and harmonica. He plays 12 different instruments.
I'm going to cast doubt. Like, how well does he play all those?
Okay, why do you have to ruin everything, man? Why you got let him have his moment?
Seems like so many. That seems like so many things to master.
He's musically inclined, man. Listen, just because you can't do it doesn't mean others.
Oh no, yeah, I can't do it. No. Although I will say,
oh yeah,
back in my day, I was pretty good with the saxophone. An alto saxophone.
You tore the house down with your karaoke at that work event that time.
Yes, I did. I sang Everlong by Foo Fighters.
That was great. I got that on video still. You were doing the whole little with the microphone. That was
what
fun.
Was that?
You know what I'm talking about. The microphone where you were like jamming out.
Oh, like I was moving the mic stand.
Yeah, the mic stand. Yeah, on beat.
I know a guy who's done off and on again. Not like it's his profession, but I guess it was for a while. He did stand up, and he said. Because I was always asking, like, obviously I was never going to do it, but it was like, what's like advice for new guys? He goes, the first thing you got to do is grab the mic really confidently. Because he goes, it doesn't matter how funny, if you get up there and you don't know what to do with that, then people don't buy into you and you look like you're unprepared. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking of that.
So is that what's going through your mind? So you're like, I gotta show I'm confident. I gotta grip this mic, and like
if you get up there and somebody's singing, they're like, oh, geez, like would that give you confidence they're gonna sing well?
That might have been me before I performed Natasha Bedingfield Unwritten.
The left guy hater's gonna hate.
left guy's a hater. Left guy is the hater of this podcast. 100%.
But like, why not stop at 12? Be like, I can play 35 instruments really well. You say any number
because he's got a double life as an NFL player. Very well. Because he's got a double life as an NFL defensive lineman. He can't devote all his time.
But 12's already a lot, so you can say I play 56 instruments. Like nobody's gonna verify the number. You can say whatever.
Well, listen, Mike, he's a very good NFL player.
He is a very good NFL and a good musician.
He is. And I think if we're going back to the defensive line here, I think especially the interior of this defensive line, the Jets clearly emphasized in the offseason revamping their run defense. That was clearly like the biggest point of emphasis. Another draft of David Bailey, but T'Vondre Sweat. They bring back Harrison Phillips. They could have let Harrison Phillips go. They decided to bring him back. David Onyemata, I believe, had the 7th highest run defense grade of any PFF of any
I think he was top 10 overall too.
Yeah, I believe he was top 10. Demario Davis it might have been earlier this week, called Onyemata one of the 5 best run defenders that he's ever played with in his career. And it's not like he's a zero as a pass rusher. I mean, he's a guy who had 7 sacks in a season at one point. He has like 34 career sacks.
Onyemata also had a very good quote today when they were asked, what do you want this defense to be? And he said, tough and mean.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
And as we've touched on this, Onyemata was an Aaron Glenn signing. Like, not only did they cross paths together in New Orleans, there's that famous clip that, made the rounds when the Jets signed him, where Onyemata met up with Glenn after a game. It might have been
the Falcons game.
Yeah, it was the Falcons game. And he was like, you changed my life, man. When we were talking in those meetings, which, by the way, Glenn was not even Onyemata's position coach. Glenn was a defensive backs coach. And the defensive backs coach for that team changed the defensive lineman's life. Like, that's the impact that Glenn made on obviously a lot of guys' lives, but especially Onyemata. So this was an Aaron Glenn signing through and through. But I think Onyemata is going to be better than people realize. I think he's also going to be someone who plays like 50 to 60% of snaps. Mike, would you be surprised if Onyemata plays more snaps than Will McDonald this year or even David Bailey? I wouldn't be stunned at all. Like, I think that's somebody that people are sleeping on. Jawan Briggs.
Especially because it sounds like they want Daryl Jackson to be what they keep calling this big end thing.
Instead of like
which
is intriguing.
Andre Sweat nose backup. So I think if they take Sweat out, I think Onyemata might be the favorite to be the nose.
I could see. I think Phillips might be more that role.
Maybe Phillips too, but Phillips didn't Phillips play like kind of that big end role also?
I think if I'm projecting right now, I think the starting base 3-4 will be Briggs, Sweat, and Onyemata, with Phillips rotating in as, the backup nose. He can also be a big end for you. And then Daryl Jackson Jr. also rotating in. And then I think if you're looking at the linebackers, obviously Demario Davis and Jamien Sherwood, I think your two starting edges in a base 3-4 are probably Joseph Osai and David Bailey. That'd be my prediction.
Not Will McDonald.
Not Will McDonald. That'd be my guess. And I think Enigbari plays a lot. I think McDonald plays a lot too, but I think McDonald is somebody that ideally you're playing 40% of snaps and you're just letting him go nuts as a pass rusher. Like, how many snaps, like Nate Herbig, that name comes to mind. How much did he play for the Steelers last year? Like, what was his, or Nick Herbig, sorry, not the former Jet, Nate Herbig, Nick Herbig.
They're brothers, right?
Yeah, they are. Nick Herbig, he actually played 60% of snaps, but 50% the previous year before that. A lot of that is pass rush snaps. He only technically started 11 games in his NFL career. I think that's probably the role you're looking at Will McDonald and saying, let him do that. Let him be the guy that is the designated pass rusher. And I know that complicates things about his contract and everything, but look, the guy's been the worst run defender in the NFL for 2 years in a row. It's gotten to a point where now you don't need him on the field in running situations because you have Kingsley Enigbari. You have Joseph Osai. Even David Bailey is probably a better run defender than McDonald at this stage.
But ultimately, you really think Osai plays more snaps than McDonald this year?
That'd be my prediction, yes. That would be my guess. I think there's a chance Osai leads all the edges in snaps if he's healthy. Because he's probably the most complete as far as like, I don't think he's a weak run defender or like a weak pass rusher. Whereas right now with Bailey and McDonald, they're both kind of weak run defenders, and Enigbari is obviously a weaker pass rusher.
I do think this is, we've said this before, but like I think that people are kind of overdoing. He's not great right now, but I think people are overdoing David Bailey's lack of run defense.
I think he's better than McDonald in that area.
Yeah, I think people try to make, I think because they saw McDonald. If the Jets didn't have Will McDonald, I don't think David Bailey's that bad a pick. Like in the eyes of many of the fans, because they just see, smaller pass rusher can't play the run as well, and then they think it's going to be the most extreme of extremes, McDonald.
The narrative is that's what, if Cade Klubnik chose the number 2 and was coming out and he looked like Zach Wilson, people would be hitting him right now. Like it's narratives at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. I also think you can argue that maybe they can overcome some of those weaknesses at run defense and edge, specifically because of their defensive line. Like, you have 6'6" Daryl Jackson Jr., who's like 315 pounds. You have him setting the edge out there, man. Strong arming offensive tackles. Who's running to that side of the ball? Genuinely. And then you try to run.
I think that was probably their plan. They're just like, all right, we know like Osai can play the run, but he's not like, Miles.
He's another guy who's long. Like Osai's got length. He's long.
Yeah, but he's not like an elite run defender.
No.
And then you got McDonald, who can't play it at all, and Bailey, who's learning to play it. And Enigbari's okay.
Yeah.
I think to mitigate that, they said if we just have the best run stuffing front inside there,
because that's the thing too.
Then we'll just put up with that, and then it will average out, and we'll have a pretty good run defense.
I know Briggs was like vastly exceeded expectations just overall, but as a pass rusher last year, his whole thing coming out of when they traded from the Browns was he was a run stuffer. So you got Briggs who could do it. Onyemata was top 8 in run defense grade last year. Tavondre Sweat, I mean, he's the best run defender on the team. Harrison Phillips was one of the better run defenders in the league. And then Daryl Jackson Jr., is certainly as a big end, you're hoping he can defend the run very well. The interior defensive line should be able to clog up these running lanes and stop the run. And that's going to make life easier as well for linebackers, especially a guy like Jamien Sherwood, who struggled a lot in run defense last year. But if he's allowed to, because I think a big issue with him is he's just a little small still, and he gets kind of swallowed up by blockers. If Tavondre Sweat's eating up 3 blocks in the middle of the defense and Sherwood could just shoot the gap, like that's when he's going to be at his best. And we know Demario Davis can still do that at an extremely high level too. Like, I'm very optimistic about the run defense going into this year. And if you could stop the run on early downs, then you could let David Bailey and Will McDonald go nuts, and they could pin their ears back and go get after quarterbacks on third down.
I don't want to just build a team that's identical to Rex Ryan, but like they had so many of those great gap shooting David Harrisy linebackers back then because they had Chris Jenkins and Sione Pua on the interior taking up blocks.
Yeah.
They fly right in there and make plays.
Yep.
Brian Glick, I would expect Carl Dunbar to improve both Will McDonald and David Bailey's skills. It's coaching.
That also helps. And I think
he's not like this wonder guy who's going to immediately fix every problem the Jets have, but getting him for this team specifically, I can't believe they got him. Any team probably would have loved to have Carl Dunbar. The fact he chose to go back to the Jets, I think, is an amazing win for Aaron Glenn as a recruiter.
Yes.
Bailey, I'm glad you brought that because I have 2 worries for this.
I was going to say they also just have a great mix of young guys and veterans. Like even outside of Dunbar, Onyemata's been around. He's seen everything. He's 33 this year. He's turning 34. Harrison Phillips, another guy who can show guys the ropes. Like you have both of those dudes in there to help teach Tavondre Sweat, to help develop Juwan Briggs and Daryl Jackson Jr. and these guys. Like it's such a great mix. I'm not saying the Jets are going to have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL this year, but I see the vision, exactly what they want this defensive line to be, this front 7 to be. And man, I think there's a chance that vision is I think there's a chance it happens. I think there's a chance we see it.
Well, because here are my 2 worries. One, honestly, not to make this Juwan Briggs, because I was such a big fan of Juwan Briggs last year, but
he was great.
I'm worried he's going to get a little bit of Michael Carter-Williams syndrome where he's on this horrible team and then somebody has to break out and then he does it. And then now next year there's more tape on him. People are planning for him and all that. And he kind of caught lightning in a bottle for 8 games. And that's not really what he is. I think he'll be good. He was putting up insane, like top 10 defensive tackle in the league numbers at the end of last year. And I'm worried if he's ever going to get back to that level.
Well, that's the question is like, how much of that was, just, I don't want to say fluky, but like how much of that was sample size and how much of that is just who he is? Because now his role increased a lot after they traded Quinnen and his production did not decrease. Like he honestly got better. Like his efficiency was just as good and the production increased. So you're looking at that and you're saying, man, if we can extrapolate that over an entire season, like if he does that again, if Juwan Briggs does what he just did last year again, we're talking about this dude as one of the best young defensive linemen in the NFL. Like full stop. If he does that again,
that's going to be a nice contract
which would be
take a look at.
Yeah, but that would be.
I almost hope he's not too good, and the Jets can get him for a little less.
I mean, look, those first world problems. That would be just a crazy development too for a guy who you traded, who was a 7th round pick, or you traded a swap of 6th and 7th for, and he becomes one of the better. Like I'm not saying he's going to be that, and there's a chance he takes a step back, but he's also playing now alongside Tavondre Sweat and David Onyemata and David Bailey, as opposed to Braden McGregor and Peyton Page and Eric Watts, and down the stretch,
Jay Tufele,
Colin Saunders, like
he's the $45 million man, Javon Kinlaw,
right? And he's got Demario Davis, behind him, helping him out as well. Like, there's a reason to believe that we have not seen the best of Juwan Briggs yet.
And the other thing is Bailey, and we've mentioned this before about how for top 2 picks, not since Travon Walker to the Jaguars has there been kind of a lack of hype around a top 2 pick like this. Now, granted, Travon Walker, pretty decent player, pretty good player.
Yeah, he is.
So maybe Bailey could follow a path like that. Bailey, look, I don't think he's a transcendent defensive player, but if you take a guy number 2 overall, you had better form your defense in a way that makes him the star and gets him as many opportunities as possible. And I'm just worried about, not that I don't think it's a creativity thing, because I think Aaron Glenn's a smart defensive coach. I think he brought in a guy who knows his scheme very well. I think Carl Dunbar is going to have a lot of say in how guys are going to be deployed, like where guys can line up. But if I had my druthers, David Bailey is like playing until his tongue's hanging out on the ground every single play, or every single game rather, because he's a young guy. Really, the pass rush is better, but they don't have, I don't think, a very good pass rush at this point, because their strategy seems to be, we'll get a bunch of decent guys. One of them may have a breakout game, but there's no like, oh, we can count on that guy for 11 sacks. They don't have.
And I'll say this too: if they lose David Bailey or Will McDonald to injury, then I'm real worried about the pass rush, because like you kind of need both of those guys. Joseph Osai is fine, and Egbari's he's a below average pass rusher. If you lose one of those guys and now all of a sudden Kingsley Enagbari is playing 60% of your pass rush snaps, that's not good. You're in trouble.
But also one of the reasons I'm saying that too about Bailey is, look, he's not going to be an amazing run defender. He'll make some plays. He's good at backside pursuit and all that. Like, is he one-on-one going to go against Trent Williams and beat him and make a run? Probably not very often.
Certainly not as a rookie.
Certainly not as a rookie. And you make your peace with that. But the pass rush stuff, Not again, PFF is not gospel by any stretch of the imagination, but the efficiency numbers he's putting up, the only guys close were the Bosa brothers, Myles Garrett, Nick Benito, Chase Young, who was a goddamn freak before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Like, that's where David Bailey's sole season with Texas Tech, that's where they put him. So this is not just like, well, let toolsy guy, let's see how it works. Like, he has, I think, as much of a chance to be an Abdul Carter level impact player as a rookie. And I think part of the problem with the Giants last year is by not trading Kayvon Thibodeau, I thought that they didn't use Abdul Carter. Abdel? Yeah, okay. Paula Abdul Carter to his full potential. And I hope the Jets don't repeat that with Bailey. Like, I would rather, honestly, the Jets get fewer total sacks and fewer pressures this year, but David Bailey plays more. Because I think not like a lot more, not like 40 to 20 or something like that, but
sure,
if it's comparable, because I really, if he's going to be that transformative on your defense, you have to keep running him out there. That's how he's going to learn. That's how he's going to get better.
Yeah, and look, if he, as long as he's not a complete liability against the run, which I really don't expect him to be. Like, I don't think he's going to be Will McDonald as a run defender.
Nobody will be. That's the thing. People, Will McDonald, like, nobody in the NFL over a multi-year period is even close to that bad.
Like, assuming full health, I think Osai and Bailey lead the edge room in snaps this year. Like, I think Bailey ends up playing more than McDonald. I think he's just going to be a more effective player than Will McDonald. Maybe, McDonald, I think McDonald can have his moments, of course, as a pass rusher, and especially if he's put in more favorable positions where, it's 3rd and 9 and he can actually get after the quarterback, as opposed to him playing 1st and 10 and 2nd and 10, like, or, 2nd and 4, like what he was doing a lot last year. But I do think Bailey is going to end up playing a lot this year. And look, I don't want to put the expectations of being the number 2 overall pick on him, even though he was, because in my mind, I just don't think he's like that caliber of a prospect. But those are going to be the expectations. Right. Those are going to be the expectations that follow. And like you mentioned, I didn't even realize that. I think I might have known that, but he is the highest drafted defensive player in franchise history. That's crazy. That's, you have to carry that torch and you have to be able to live up those expectations. And, maybe it's unfair to ask that of him, but that's what people are going to be talking about. And if he's struggling through his first, 8 games of the year and he has 1 sack or, half a sack, there's going to be a lot of conversations of, man, especially if Arbel Reese is flying around, across the stadium for the Giants and he's doing well, there's gonna be some conversations.
Before we move on to our little fun thing that we got to close here for, I will say your Will McDonald optimism is 18.5 sacks in 2 years with that around you defensively that's your optimism. And as one thing that Connor Rogers pointed this out, and actually I'm like, that's a very good point from an evaluation point of view, because he was mostly talking about guys like Bain and some of the other sack guys. Like, finishing sacks is a skill. Like, you can't just make it all pressures. You can't just make it all sacks. But there is an ability to closing down on a quarterback and finishing a sack that Will McDonald and David Bailey both have. Honestly, one of the problems with not problem, he's a good prospect. One of the reasons Ruben Bain was not like a locked in for number 2 is because he did not have that ability. That was one of his problems, was his closing speed to get after the quarterback is not amazing. But Bailey and Will McDonald, it seems both have that. I don't know how teachable that is, but they both have that in spades right now. So that's good.
I agree. All right, Mike, are you ready? Well, we should even mention this. We didn't mention this at the top of the show. It's another mini game. We're doing a little fun mini game here. We're trying to get these in because, it's June. There's not a lot going on. For those who are familiar with
the concept, do another Brendan Sorsby segment if you want.
We could. We've done a lot of those. But for those who are familiar with
it's very funny.
with the concept of connections, I believe it's a New York Times mini game, whatever. But there's also a website called Lick Connections that does this usually for the NBA, but they have an NFL version and you can make your own. So I made a custom Jets connection, and I made a few of these actually. Mike, I believe this is the easiest one. So how this works is we'll switch over here. Could possibly make this bigger. Right? Is this good size?
No, that's good for me.
That's good for you. Okay. How this works is there's 4 different categories here, and Mike has to figure out what those categories are. You get 4 lives. You have 3 incorrect guesses. It also tells you if you're 1 away. Let you cook here, and I'm gonna actually. Can I try to make this? I can make this bigger. I think. Yeah, there we go.
Let's see here. I think one of them may be a draft year. Because I'm just looking at some of these guys right now, like Trenton Cannon.
And in chat, you can absolutely help. Well, let me intro Mike just in case we do a short for this. Let's play Jets Connections. All right, go for it. What do you got?
It's very smooth.
Just in case I make this into a short.
See, because what I was thinking was that Cannon, Stewart, Fadakasi, and somebody else could be 2019, I think, draftees.
Okay.
But I'm not seeing anybody else that would count there because Braden Mann was the year after.
Okay. I'm interested to see if chat can figure this out too. I think there's one or two categories that are fairly gettable.
I stink at this game. Oh my God. I'm decent at Wordle. I'm pretty good at Wordle. I'm terrible at this game.
Okay. And I should
especially because like sometimes they'll say I'm one away and then like I forget what the other one is and I just use up all my lives getting.
Well, I'm here to help you out. And I'll say as you're thinking, I'll say this to the chat because I already told you this, Mike. There's not like the database for this because you can make your own. The database does not include a lot of old players. Like Brandon, I was surprised I can go as far back as Brandon Bostic because I tried to put D. Milliner in one of these and they didn't even have him in a database because it was that far back. So just keep that in mind when we're doing these. It's all newer players. It's all new guys. But I guess for the audio listeners, we should do this. Hold on. For the audio listeners, the names included here. This is actually terrible for audio. I'm sorry. The names here are Brandon Bostic, Trenton Cannon, Adrian Amos, Alan Lazard, Josh McCown, Trevor Simeon, Joe Flacco, Jake Hansen, Ardarius Stewart, Foley Fadakasi, Quinnen Williams, John Mechie, Braden Mann, Jamison Crowder, Jark Bernard Converse, CJ Mosley. You got anything, Mike? Anything coming to mind?
Ooh, man. Well, I've run through like 3 groups already to get to 3 members, and I can't get a 4th in.
What are those groups?
So I thought one was going to be JBC. JBC being on there implies that it's going to be like a guy who didn't play very much for the Jets.
But
then, like, I would put him with Bostic.
Okay.
But then everybody else did.
Can
I ask questions?
Sure.
Did Adrian Amos, I forget, did he get signed the year that they brought Lazard in?
I forget if it was that exact year, which I guess that'll tell you it's not that. He was signed 2020. He was signed 2023.
Rodgers guys that got brought in.
I will say you're very close with that.
Okay.
He was signed the same year, by the way. He did join the Jets 2020, but it's not about the year. But you're extremely close with that.
Okay. If it's not about the year, but it's Rodgers related.
There is a Rodgers related category here. Yes, 100%.
So it would be Jake Hansen, Adrian Amos, Alan Lazard, and Brandon Bostic.
There you go. Do you know what that category
is? Played with Rodgers before the Jets.
Bang! Played with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Good stuff, Mike. There you go. There you go. That was one I thought you'd get. That was a gettable one for sure.
Oh, that was the easy one? Oh, God, I thought that was one of the harder ones.
Well, you got it. I mean, you got it. That was one of the 2 that I thought were fairly straightforward.
Okay.
Because all those guys, like Lazard was the one I was like, I got to include Lazard to make this even easier, you know.
Mechie was a trade. I'm thinking there might be a trade thing with Mechie because.
Okay.
But then nobody else got traded to the Jets, I don't think. Unless Flacco was one of those like 7th round pick swap just to get him things.
He was. The Jets did trade for Joe Flacco, but that's not.
But they didn't trade for Crowder. They didn't trade for Mosley.
They traded away Quinnen.
I
don't believe anyone else in here was involved in a trade.
Where is Mechie, by the way? Is the Panthers, I think?
Yeah, Panthers picked him up.
Okay. Good for him. Ardarius and Cannon, because I was going to say maybe it could be guys who were cut after 1 year, but I think Cannon was with the Jets for 2 years.
He was with the Jets for 2 years. Didn't play much, but he was with them for 2 years.
There's no Chad Hansen.
I like what you're thinking, though. I like what you're thinking. These are good thoughts to have.
So let me just try. I'm just going to try. So it's probably going to be wrong, but I want to like narrow a guess down.
Sure.
So it's going to be JBC, Ardarius, Cannon, and no, because Fadakasi had a couple years, and Mechie.
So you want to do these 4?
Yeah, I think they all barely play for the Jets in terms of like time. So.
Okay. So Cannon, Stewart, Mechie, JBC.
Let's see how close I am.
That is incorrect, and it's not one away.
Oh, okay. So not even close. All right.
So not one away.
All right. So let's scrub that.
Yeah. I will say duration.
There's 3 quarterbacks on here, but
there are 3 quarterbacks on here. That's correct.
There's not 4, which is what you need.
I would say duration of time with the team is not related to one of the categories.
Okay.
However, you might be onto something with the quarterback thing.
Okay, so McCown, Simeon, Flacco, Crowder because I believe it's like guys who threw a touchdown with the Jets. Because I remember some like Crowder trick play. Hey!
That is exactly what it is. Threw a touchdown.
Was it against Washington, I think?
I forget. It was 2020.
Or the Bills?
I believe he threw it to Berrios, maybe?
I thought it was like a reverse to Darnold or something.
No, I think he threw it to another receiver. But it was McCown, Simeon, Flacco, and Jameson Crowder.
While I'm guessing, you got to look that up because I'm going to be thinking about that.
All right. Players to throw a touchdown for the Jets. Good work. I was very happy with that one. That was a fun one.
All right, so we got let's see.
It was
2 defensive tackles.
It was Berrios. 43-yarder to Berrios against the Browns, December 27th, 2020.
Did they win? Was that one of the ones they won?
Oh man, I don't know. I think
that was one of the games they won.
Probably. Actually, yeah, I think so.
No, they beat or the Chargers. I think they beat. No, they beat.
They won. They won 23-16. So that was the deciding factor.
That was the Trevor Lawrence.
It was
knockout blow. Thanks for that, Crowder.
Oh my goodness. All right, so there's 2 left. I think you can get this. I think you'll get this.
I don't. Because we got Quinnen, Stewart, JB's. Like they're so varied in terms of length with the team, and then Mosley sticks out like a sore thumb.
Remaining for the audio listeners, we got Trenton Cannon, Ardarius Stewart, Foley Fatukasi, Quinnen Williams, John Mechie, Braden Mann, Jarek Bernard-Converse, and C.J. Mosley.
I was gonna say all pro. Like did Cannon make as a returner or something like that? But no,
he did not.
Because then Mosley and Quinnen would have counted.
Sure.
Mann obviously didn't.
Ardarius,
I don't think latched on anywhere else. Because I was gonna say, is there a Texans overlap because of Fatukasi and Mechie? But
no, good thought, but no.
But Ardarius didn't latch on anywhere else. God damn. Shit.
I like your thought.
If I get one, I'll get the other. That's the tough part.
For sure. And then I think if you get one, you'll be able to figure out what the other category is.
Well, because there's only mathematically, there's one other.
No, but you'll be able to figure out like what the category is too. Like not just the players involved.
Let's try.
Yeah, you could just shoot from the hip if you want.
Well, because you already said duration of time with the Jets is not a category, so that couldn't work.
Correct.
So what if I go with Mann, JB? No, because I was going to say Douglas draft picks. But there's only 2 of them here.
Yeah.
What if I go Quinnen, Cannon, Fatukasi, Ardarius as McCagnon draft picks?
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
That's wrong. Okay.
That's not right. I guess that's technically true though. Stewart? No, Stewart wasn't McCagnon. Was he?
Yeah, it was 2018.
Stewart 2018?
Yeah.
Damn, why do I think he was earlier than that?
Quinnen was the year he got fired, and those other 2 were, so.
I don't think he was 17, but that's still McCagnon.
And it wasn't one away either, so that's frustrating.
No. That's technically true though. You got to technically correct for those were all McCagnon draft
best picks. Kind of correct.
But McCagnon draft picks wouldn't have worked. Actually would have because they are the only 4 McCagnon draft picks on this entire thing. Well,
so you're screwing me here.
Sort of. Well, relax.
I'll count that as a victory if I don't.
I don't know.
So let's see here. Where would Mosley just sticks out? There's like nothing that connects any of it. Let me see. Because I was also thinking Bernard-Converse is like somebody we interviewed, but we haven't talked to anybody else here. No, Mosley we talked to.
That would be it's not that, but that would be so fun if we were like guys we've had on the show or we've interviewed. Fatukasi and Mosley would work for that. Or not Fatukasi. JBC and Mosley would work for that, but
Quinnen, Mechie, Mosley, Ardarius. Alabama guys.
There it is.
There we go.
Alabama. Yep. That's what I thought.
Who are the other guys?
So the others remaining are Trenton Cannon, Foley Fatukasi, Braden Mann.
Well, I mean, like, what's their category? Because
you got to try and figure out what it is.
Cisco really quick says, I haven't been in tune with you guys because I had a baby on June 9th. Congrats, Cisco.
Congrats, buddy. That's awesome.
I believe he's the reason the Knicks curse is over. Maybe he's the reason the Jets curse is over.
Yes, we can hope, Cisco. Thank you for your service.
Congratulations.
Cisco, you are the one who did this. Thank you for helping the Knicks win a championship. Thank you. And to your child. Mike, can you figure out
what category was I missing?
You're missing.
I mean, they're the only ones I can guess.
You don't want to try and you don't want to try to figure it out?
Oh, I got to guess the category.
I'll give you a hint. It's draft related. That should do it.
Day 3 picks.
More specific. Very close.
6th round picks.
6th round picks. Trenton Cannon, Foley Fatukasi, Braden Mann, Jarek Bernard-Converse were all 6th round picks of the Jets. There you go. That was good, right? That was good.
Yeah,
That was fun.
I like how it even got like 2 bonus categories that
you did get the McCagnon one. Yeah, I guess I didn't consider they were all McCagnon draft picks, but it's all right.
all right.
These are better categories anyway. I think this was fun though, Mike. Did you enjoy this?
Well, because I won, so yeah. If I didn't, I would have said it's bullshit. But
okay,
I did. I did, so I like it.
I had fun putting this together. I have some others too, but I think we can maybe do those another time.
Yes.
This was a good time though. This was fun. All right. Do you have any final thoughts before we officially sign off? I've turned my hat around now just to show off the. I feel like I don't love snapbacks, But,
well, then why'd you buy one?
Because I like it backwards. It looks good.
Brian Sternbeck, would you be interested in fan submitted games?
Oh, buddy, yes. If you want to make some for us, by all means.
Absolutely, especially with your trivia
yes
mindset.
By
Brian
all
Glick,
means.
3 of those guys were picked 204th overall. Is that true?
That is so. Who would that be? That'd be Braden Mann,
Fadakasi.
No, I actually don't think it was Fadakasi. I think it was Mann, Cannon, and
JBC.
I think they were all picked 204.
Wow.
Are we right? Are we right about that?
That's crazy.
Why do I think Fadakasi was earlier.
You like number 204 pick in NFL history, and then it'll show you all.
Fadakasi, yeah, Fadakasi was 180. He was before that. That's what I thought. Look at that.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's a great poll. I don't know if there's a fourth one that I could have included in that, but it would have been crazy. It was like if that was the category.
Well, I have to look it up now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go see if there was another one picked by the Jets, specifically 204th overall.
There probably was a long time ago. They probably wouldn't be in the database though.
Number 204 pick NFL draft.
That is crazy. Within the last 10 years, though, they've had 3 guys pick 204. That's pretty wild. But Brian, while you're looking it up, Brian Sternbeck, if you want to make them, 100% go for it. Like, please do. That would be so awesome.
You could have made a category.
Hold on, because I would love to participate in these, and I always make it for Mike, and I would love that. That'd be so great, Brian.
So I got some new. Braden Mann was not taken 204th overall.
That's what Brian said. Oh, but neither was Fadakasi.
Neither was Fadakasi, but Derek Jones was taken the year before Trenton Cannon.
He's definitely in the database, I bet. I bet I could have used Derek Jones.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody. Please, there's got to be someone else. Come on, that would be so.
Yeah, Brian.
Nope, there's only 3. Only Brian, those 3.
If you want to, if you have something like that, DM me or whatever. DM me on Twitter, Jet Press, or my personal account. I don't care, either one.
But they had 3 times in a 7-year span. They had exactly 204.
That is pretty wild. That's
like the Jets are Derek Jones, Trenton Cannon, and Jarper in our conference.
Kind of like how they were picking 6th overall every year for a little bit. Maybe that could be a category. Possibly.
Jets 6th overall picks.
Yeah. That was fun.
It would have been Darnold. They had it the year they took Darnold, and then they traded.
We could do more of those in the future though, because those were fun. Brian said Cannon and JBC only, and Derek Jones.
Emmanuel Acho also was picked in that with that pick.
Brian said he'll make a trivia game for next week and try to scale it for 20 minutes. Dude, that would be awesome.
Oh, that might with his trip, it might take us like an hour and a half.
Hey, don't underestimate us. We got this. We Mike, you have the historical knowledge of the Jets. I have the just for lack of a better term, autistic knowledge of Jets from 2009 to present day. Give me any player that was on the team, and I got you.
So my final thoughts are.
But Brian, that'd be great. Thank you. I would be like so awesome. Thank you ahead of time. He said, actually, to be honest, I started working on one in advance today's show. It's no time finished. Dude, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah, we'd love that. We'd love that.
We would absolutely love that, buddy. Very much appreciate that. Yeah, you have any final thoughts, Mike?
Well, you may have won that, but we got Nate Ament coming, so.
So your final thoughts are basketball. You got it. No, I don't want us to come across patronizing. I would love if the Nets were good. Like, I want a rivalry. I legitimately want a New York rivalry. I think that'd be so fun.
Well, there isn't any anymore because they can win 5 and it won't be a rivalry.
But like, I wanted at least to be on the level of Lakers Clippers, which that's
not a rivalry either.
Right. And this isn't even on that level. Like, I wanted to at least be like a big brother, little brother situation. Right now, it's like a Nets don't even exist situation. Like, that's kind of what it feels like. And I don't want it to be that way. I want the Nets to have some,
because they weren't even in New Jersey. And look, people always are talking about what a fan base they have. Like, I didn't live in New Jersey my entire life as a Nets fan. They were not even the number 2. The Sixers have more fans in New Jersey than the Nets did. And that is an inarguable fact.
I would say right now there's more LeBron fans in New York than Nets fans.
I don't think that's fair, but you could be overlap of both. You could be a LeBron fan and a Nets fan, but
I can't imagine there's many of those. Like I'm talking about LeBron.
Well, I like LeBron and I like
our buddy Jason. Like he's a LeBron fan. He's not a. You
mean just bandwagoners? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, if you are a fan of a player, you're going to be a bandwagon to whatever team they're on. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I'm a fan of LeBron, but I don't like root for the Lakers.
No, I mean a LeBron fan first and over any team.
Okay.
There's a lot of people like that.
Well, I also think like right now there's a lot more probably like, Shohei Ohtani fans than Miami Marlins fans. So like I think that's just
that's the international stuff though. He has an entire country rooting for him. That's
in America, I think.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know if Ohtani has that kind of pull amongst Americans.
I think you ever been to a Marlins game?
Actually, no. I've not. Have
exactly.
You? Have you? Okay, you got me there.
Did you don't fly to Florida for June Miami Marlins games?
No, I have not been to a Marlins game. I guess sue me. I don't know. I think that works with internet. Like you could say there's more.
In fact, they're the only team that goes north for spring training. So
that's fun. I think there's more Wembanyama fans than like Pelicans fans. But like,
well, again, if you count France, probably
right. The whole damn country is rooting. There's probably more Dennis Schroeder fans than
a whole damn country. Okay.
Yes.
I think you said a cold, damp country. I'm like, what's wrong with France?
I don't think they're damp. It's probably cold. It's not that damp.
In France, now you got the Riviera right on the water and stuff. Yes. Like,
I feel like England's more damp.
Yeah. That's like their whole thing.
Is there damp?
Well,
I don't like
it's cold.
I don't like that word. I don't like that
England,
word.
the nation of damp people.
I don't like that. No, now it sounds when you say it like that, it sounds like an insult. Like it sounds like you're saying a bad word.
Better than moist.
If you say damp people, that sounds like I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
So now that we're completely off the rails, Justin, feel free to take us home.
Yeah, my final thoughts are going to be. Oh, by the way, we'll really quick. Chris asked me interested in the Jets trading for a veteran running back like James Conner. I don't think they need it. I think they're fine with their quarterback room or their running back room.
If they add a veteran, it's going to be probably a linebacker.
Yeah, I think they're happy with Brees and Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. I don't think they really.
Braylon Allen's 250.
And
you relegate him to a backup role?
They have Kene Wangu, who's going to be he's going to have a roster spot. So that's already 4 running backs you want to keep right there. I think that's one position they're probably set at. But yeah, my final thoughts. Let's go Knicks. Shout out this New York Knicks team. I don't know if I'm going to the parade tomorrow. I'd have to take off work, and I just think it's going to be hell. And I live on Long Island, so it's going to be so.
Even if one of my teams won, I wouldn't go to a parade.
I'd consider it. I went to the Seahawks parade when they won it, and I went to the Celtics parade when they won it a couple years ago, and those were cool. I can only imagine what it's going to be like in New York.
You just wait for a bunch of people for hours, and then a bus comes by, and like.
Well, I think the part of it is just the experience, with Knicks fans, with fellow like-minded fans.
Oh, well, I don't like other people, so I wouldn't, I'd be like, that sounds terrible.
You are Oscar the Grouch, bro. You are. You are a grump. You are a total grump.
I gotta pay to go into the city to stand at it. Nah. Not to discourage you from going here.
Not to discourage people we know who are going. Like I think Jerry said he's going.
By the way, I work with a team that's about probably 8 people strong, and 4 of them are not working tomorrow because they're going to the parade.
Yes, so. I know. And there's a chance to add me to that list, but I think I'm not going to go. I think I'm going to end up not going.
You're too spoiled. You can't make it.
I was just there. I went to the city yesterday. And it's a long day when you go out for us, or for me. I live on Long Island. I live in Suffolk County out there, so like it's a long trip for me. But I don't know, man. I'll see. It's good. And
I feel great for the city of New York. He says driving from 2 hours from Suffolk County.
Hey, I was born in Queens, bro. I lived the first 2 years of my life in Queens. That means I could sort of claim it, kind of, a little bit, maybe. I was born there. I grew up there for a few years, and then I moved. Blame my parents for moving me out. Anyway,
I lived there when I couldn't remember anything. Therefore,
I have some memories, not many, but I have some memories of living in New York City. Anyway, my final thoughts are though: shout out the New York Knicks, shout out Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. Should I go through the whole roster? Let's fucking
not Mikal Bridges.
No, absolutely Mikal Bridges.
The only 2 guys I'm happy for are OG Anunoby because I've interviewed him a couple times, like in media stuff, and he's an incredibly nice guy. And Mike Brown seems like a very nice, cool guy.
Karl Anthony Towns is.
I'm neutral on Cat.
Man,
if they're the team you don't like, if the Patriots won the Super Bowl, they beat the Seahawks. Would you be like, I'm very happy for Drake May?
I don't know enough about Drake May as a person to know that. I know a lot about Karl Anthony Towns as a person, and he's a wonderful human being.
He is a very nice guy from what I've seen. But like, I don't know. I know for a fact OG Anunoby is a very nice, cool guy.
I am so happy for guys like Towns and even Bridges, who they've dealt with so much shit, man. I'm so happy for these guys. I'm so happy for Deuce McBride, who's a wonderful person. I'm so happy for Jalen Brunson. Obviously, I'm happy for Mike Brown. Fuck it, man. We'll say the whole damn roster. Shout out Mitchell Robinson. Shout out Jordan Clarkson. Shout out Jordan Clarkson. Shout out Landry Shamet. You cannot be not happy for Landry Shamet, Mike. This dude was out of the league.
With the Nets. Yeah.
He was almost out of the league. He couldn't.
Yeah, because he was terrible with the Nets.
He couldn't even make the Wizards rotation, Mike. And guess what happened? The man battled back.
Because he was bad. So
listen. Man battled back through 2 different shoulder injuries. All right. Went from a guy who played no defense for most of his career to a guy who they trusted as a point of attack defender that Mike Brown fucking loved. I don't think there's a player in this roster who Mike Brown loves more than Landry Shamet. So shout out Landry Shamet. I honestly don't think so.
Considering
I think he loves Landry Shamet more than his damn children. Like, that man loves Landry Shamet. But shout out those guys. Who did I not say? Shout out Tyler Kolek. Shout out Ariel Hukporti. Shout out Jeremy Sohan. Shout out Pacome Dadier. Shout out Trey Jameson, Dylan Jones, Kevin McCullough. I think that's everybody on the roster. I think I just said everyone. And of course, Mike Brown, who's awesome. Those are my final thoughts, Mike. You have anything to say about that? No, that's it.
All right. Like, I have no retort. Like,
that's fair. You're right. Suffolk exit 56, baby. I'm even further out there, Brian. But yeah, shout out Suffolk.
I'm even farther away from New York.
But I was born there. That counts.
Even more detached.
Thank you all for joining us on the show today. You can follow Mike on Twitter @ByMikeO'Channel. Follow me on Twitter, Justin D. Freed. Follow Jet Press and Jet Press. Download the Jet Press podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Again, we are closing in on 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. Would love to hit that by the end of the month. So if you have not hit subscribe at all, if you have watched us at all and you're still not subscribed, please click that button. It honestly, like, I think in the grand scheme of YouTube, it doesn't do a ton, but it does.
Just like seeing round numbers. So.
Yeah, it's nice, and the support is very much appreciated. Brian, thank you for the comment earlier about the shorts. We will keep pumping those out, and thank you again to Austrian Jet Fan who donated the 20 memberships. Again, you are the man. Also, Mike will show you more Steins if you donate.
I only got the one, so let's
buy some more. Go back to Salzburg and buy some more.
Hope you liked it. That's the only one I got.
We stream live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you all for listening to Jet Press Podcast. I've been Justin Freed. That is Mike Luciano. See you guys next time.
See you guys next week.